What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So this episode we're gonna go over everything that's been done already. If you watched the last episode and then you watch this one, there's probably some stuff that are missing, and let me show you guys why. So a lot of what I did is put the car back together, which I've already shown you guys a couple of times. So I figured why not save some time and kind of skip that part. But I do have some updates that are new. I did finish up the inside part here. I did all this wiring right here and also wired that up. So let me show you guys what's going on. Now that's working. So let's start with the top here. My temperature gauge is now working. The top here is the coolant temperature and the bottom one is the oil temperature. In the middle here I have 4 different things. The first one here is my secondary boost. So when I turn that on, it will trigger a second boost or a higher boost level. This one will serve as a dual purpose. As you guys can see here, it's a voltmeter, but also a USB port for charging stuff. Now this right here is a kill switch for, of course, emergency use. And lastly here is our heater. So you have low, medium, high. So it does work, okay? Comes out here and then all the way around there. Now if I haven't mentioned it before, the reason why I added a heater is because I do anticipate a lot of night drives, but also I want to defrost the windshield. And all of this is a Summit Racing unit. It's pretty small, pretty lightweight, but it seems like it brings out a lot of heat, so should be good. So as far as interior, that is pretty much done. So going back in the board, I did mount my temperature gauge, so that's good. So it looks like spring strut. I haven't mounted my ECU. Well, it's now inside the cabin, so that's going to be a lot easier. I did complete my heater core install. That's good. I will not be pulling out my engine, so I'm going to cross that out. Now, some of this stuff I actually completed already. So I finished the wiring, cut some of the leftover body wires, pulled the thermostat already, checked the coolant hose clearance, fixed the oil drain issue that I was having, installed a solid engine and transmission mount as well as the DTS, so that's done. I have not completed my brake lines yet. Well, it's hooked up, but I need to clean it up. I've also now completed the AC delete, so that's good. So that leaves us with a fan shroud and then skid plate, and then we get into the wide body and all that stuff. Alright, so what I'm gonna do now is actually reset this list because a lot of it is no longer relevant. Alright, here's the updated list, but as you guys can see, after that's been mounted, there's only really 2 things that I need to do before I can do the tuning. And then after that, we can do the dyno. So, let's get that installed. Alright, so let's go ahead and unbox this thing. This thing is actually pretty heavy. You know what, guys? This car is actually pretty spoiled because this is actually the first time I bought a coilover, and a pretty good one at that. So, let's go ahead and check this out. Okay. I guess I have one more to open. Alright, so now we can finally check it out. Let's see here. Cover. Yes, nice little envelope, so let's go ahead and see what's inside. Stickers! You know, I don't have the stickers yet on my toolbox. Let's see what else. Looks like instruction manual. Alright, let's see here. First set. Looks good. Alright, looks like it's pretty nicely packaged here. Just kind of checking to make sure nothing got damaged on the shipment. I mean, the box looks pretty good, so I don't anticipate any damage at all. So let's go ahead and actually do this. Alright guys, so check this out. This looks awesome. Now, because this thing is a pretty expensive part, I'm actually going to go ahead and read the instruction manual on this thing and see if I need to do anything specific before I install the thing. Last thing I want to do is blow one of this out, and yeah, that's going to be an expensive mistake. So let me do that first, and then let's go ahead and install it. Alright guys, change of plans. It looks like I have to drop the sway bar, and it looks like it's probably best if I actually do the front at the same time. So gonna go ahead and drop or raise the other side also, and then yeah. Alright, so it looks like dropping the other side or taking off the sway bar also allowed me to lower this enough, hopefully. Yeah, let's see here, gonna make sure. Yep, just enough. This thing's actually not too bad. Feels like it's working, but very slow. Maybe not working. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and just try it. Compress it from here. Hey, I don't know how I'm gonna compress this. Alright, I guess let me ask the question, is this worth reusing? I can't even tell. It looks like it's in pretty poor shape. I didn't buy that. So let me see if I could find one locally. Alright, it's not the greatest. Couldn't get the other one locked in this head right here because there's not enough space. But I got it tight enough that I could rotate it, so it's holding its spring shape. I should be able to now take it off. Wish it's locked in. Yep, still good. That is trash. Let's see if it actually even compresses back. Huh. Just a little bit blunt, I guess. Alright, so a bit of a problem here. Apparently, this top and that top of the spring are completely different. So this is the factory one. Kind of has that shape right here that fits that. Well, this won't fit that. So as you can see, kind of hits it right there. And I'm not sure, I tried to trim it already, but I'm not sure what part I actually need for this. So gonna have to do some research online and see what kit or what top of the spring bushing I need to be able to use the coilover. Kind of sucks, I'll tell you guys. Really disappointed because yeah, can't go anywhere because I took off one of the spring already. So I tried to figure that out and I started to install the hardware here. Started with the driver's side, going back to a stud. This is M12, M14. So the reason why I went back to the stud is because of this 3mm spacer. I actually don't have enough grip with this thing. It treads about this much, which is nothing really. So I needed to go back to something, either buy a longer one, but it's harder to find one with a wobble bolt, so I decided to go just with a stud. Now I do have plans to be able to use that still. I won't use a wobble bolt. I'm actually planning to just get them re-drilled. They're like $50 a piece to re-drill. So I'll just pay that cost, but it'll be the Audi lug pattern, so not to worry about it. So what I'm going to do is install the rest of this, well, passenger side, rest of it. And then maybe I'll do the back one. I gotta go see, because this is just, yeah. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and install this. Check out the leg, or the studs on this thing. They're pretty cool. So, Motorsport hardware, M14 by 1.5. This looks really neat. Yeah. Alright, so here's where we at with this thing. I've been researching for the past couple hours. Still wasn't finding anything about this or what I'm supposed to use. And then it just kind of hit me. You know what? I could ask my Instagram guys. Well, you know what? Shout out to these two guys right here for confirming that I do in fact just need to trim this. So alright. I'm gonna go ahead and trim this. The factory one that I have on there, this little bushing right here, I will be tossing out because I do have new ones. And in case you guys missed it, that thing is already cracked anyway, so I can't really reuse that. So nothing special. This is not like one of those hardened one or whatever thing that 034 sells. I would have picked it up if they're open, but they're closed on the weekend, so they are local to me, which is pretty cool. But again, I'll be using this one. This is just some, I think I got them from AutoZone, Duralast brand. They were like 12 bucks a piece, so they're pretty cheap. I'm gonna trim this later on if I feel like I want to change them out, like go, brand new everything. That's fine. I'll change it then, I guess. But this should work for now. So let's get to trimming. What I want to do is I want to make sure that I have the same amount of space all the way around. That way it kind of centers itself. Because right now this whole thing right here is shifted to the right. So, yeah. Don't really know how to trim this. I guess I'll just kind of... This thing's pretty hard to trim, so gotta be careful not to cut myself. Alright guys, check it out. Not bad at all. Let's see here. Just gonna fit this. Here you go. Looks like it's pretty much in the middle. Looks pretty even. Well, this side's a little bit higher, but once you have the weight of the car there, it'll compress in just fine, I think. So that's one side done. That means we can put it back together, and that's trash. Alright, so let's go keep up here a little bit before I drag this everywhere. Alright, from here, which way was this? I think like this. Oh no. Man, I'm just having challenges after challenges. Okay, never mind. Take that back. It was fine. All good, guys. False alarm, false alarm. Alright, now there was an instruction on this on how to set the height, so I'm going to go set that right now. Okay, so let's see here. Looks like from the top of the perch right here to the bottom here, it should be somewhere between 330 to 355. Darn it, 300. Alright, so I guess what I'll do is actually lock this out, and then I'll go ahead and set the height, because then that way I won't be fighting the spring here. Alright, so I found the Allen wrench that fits. I'm gonna go ahead and stand this up and then actually tighten it. Alright, so camera's there, but it'll be standing. So now let's see here. This is kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky because it's all the way inside. I almost need a socket, but how am I gonna hold it in place if I use a socket? I guess we are using a socket. That's good. It's pretty tight. I actually almost busted that up, so I'm gonna leave it right there. Alright, so that's good. And now let's set the height. It's supposed to be that I could set this at 330 or 355. I'm gonna go ahead and go for 355. Hopefully at this height, when I drop it in the car, I won't be too low. Alright guys, so this is the first one fully assembled, ready to go back in the car. But before I do that, I'm actually going to go ahead and take out the passenger side. That way when I assemble this second one right here, I could just match it to the height of this one, and then that'll be matched up instead of trying to measure it and do all that good stuff. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take out the shock and then assemble it, and I'll show you guys that shortly. Alright, before I keep going and install this thing, I just wanted to show you guys what is going on with this passenger side. Check out that. It was like grinded down. Yeah, that thing tore it up. Look at that. Now when I did buy the car, I was hearing a suspension knock, so I had an idea that one of them was actually in not such a great shape, but I didn't realize it was that bad. I thought it was just like a loose bolt or something. But look at all that metal shavings. Cool. Well, let's see a compression test on this one. Oh my goodness. Did you guys see that? Look at this. It is not blown, guys. No worry. It's still good. No wonder the front was so bouncy. Look at that. Alright, so the fronts are fully assembled. So let's go put it back. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start on the driver's side. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. I think we're good. Suspension looks okay. Probably have to refresh that later on. Yeah. Oh, this thing is slightly longer or higher than what my right height was. Oh boy. Okay. I think I could maybe sneak it through this way. Yeah. Okay. We're good, guys. We're good. Don't worry. We're good. So all I'm doing now is gonna raise this up, this whole thing up. That way it pushes up against there, and then I can tighten the top side. I won't be using any impact at this point because the top are not that like they're not heavy duty, so I gotta be extra careful that I don't actually rip out all the bolts. So it'll be all manual. You know what, guys, I just realized I didn't show you guys the suspension setup on the S4. So for anybody that wants to install a coilover, or technically I guess if you want to do a shock too, it's the same way. What you have to do is remove the sway bar right here. Just remove the bolt. It's easier if you do both sides. Seems like it gets caught on one side if you don't. So I removed both sides and I dropped them. And then after that, you do have one bolt right here, and then everything else is gonna be from the top. Originally, I thought you had to remove these 3 bolts, but that actually stays on. What you do have to remove are the covers right here, and then one cover right here. Once you remove those 2 covers, there's two nuts right here on top. All right, so once those 2 are loose, all you need to do is kind of push this thing down, and then you'll be able to take this out. Okay, the install is just reverse. So yeah, it's actually pretty simple. So pretty good. Now we'll be leaving the adjuster on this outside or the front side, so I could adjust it a lot easier versus the inside part. Alright guys, it is back in place. Looks really good. The top is bolted. Those 2 things right here are not bolted. Well, you see the bolt there, but they're not tightened, because what I need to do is actually need to roll them around, kind of seat them, or kind of have them in a neutral position. So then I need to get them on a ramp. After that, then tighten it. If you do actually tighten it without it being raised, I'd recommend at least, you know, pushing it up with a jack stand. That way it's somewhat neutral. But if you don't, like let's say you left it hanging and you decide to tighten it, you'll bind this bushing right here. So yeah, that's not good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the wheels back on with the new studs, which is pretty awesome. So I'm gonna put the wheels back on and then drop the car, and let's go move on to the front one, or the back ones. The front one. This is the front one. We're gonna go to the back. Alright guys, so here it is with a stud. Looks pretty good. Now even with the 3mm spacer, I could actually go bigger, but I don't want to. There's enough threads in there to even go bigger, even though I'm not really a fan of spacers. So only 3mm is probably the maximum I'd run. Maybe actually, you know what, maybe 5 is the maximum I would run. Just preference. Now this should fit and looks nicer with those wheels right there, but we gotta figure out how to get the rest of that stuff in fender flares. So we're gonna rock this for now. Alright guys, so here it is with the new suspension. It's still kind of high, which I actually prefer it to be this high, but it will settle out a little bit more, which means it will drop a little bit more, so maybe I will actually end up racing the coilover just a tad bit. We'll see how far it settles from here. Now let's do the bounce check. Yep. There you go, that's how it's supposed to be. Okay, now one thing I do need to remind myself. I need to tighten the sway bar and the strut bolt before I go for a test drive, because that's not going to be good with those not tightened. It is a little bit late. It's already 10. I wonder if I can do the back. Kind of curious to see how long it'll take me to do the back. Kind of hoping that I can finish this thing tonight, and then tomorrow go for a quick test drive and see how it goes. Well, let's go open up the back and see how much of a work we need to do. I need to tighten that actually. So now that it's on the ground, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten the lug nuts. Okay, so by the looks of it, it doesn't look like it's too complicated. Looks like I gotta take off this one. So one in the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts. Looks like possibly 6 bolts. Not bad. So let's give that a try. Alright, so we are back here in the front. I guess, let me see if I could loosen this thing. Be awesome if I could just untighten it. That way I don't have to use the spring compressor again. Okay, that one's loose. So the back one's actually a lot better shape than the front. So you guys can see there's a big difference here. Let's see, hopefully this isn't tight. Let's see how the back is. The back one's not too bad actually. So the front ones are blown, but the back one's okay. Alright, so luckily the spring on this is pretty much identical to this. So I don't have to modify that, which is good. So I should just be able to bolt it up. Yep. Looks good, guys. That is good. Perfect. Okay, now I just gotta make sure this thing is lined up. 110. I'm not heavy enough. I'm literally like 1/4 inch maybe. Whew. All right. Yeah, like I said, 1/4 inch. Alright guys, so I have all the coilovers mounted. We are done with the coilovers. So look at all that junk over there and all this mess that I made. But we are done. Well, sorta done. We still need to do this tomorrow. I'm gonna do that tomorrow, not today, because it's already really late. So I don't want to turn the car and kind of roll and mess around with there too much. Even though the neighbor's kind of partying, so I could probably do it. But I'm out of time. So that is gonna be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.